Cellcast.
Hi everyone, welcome back to the Cellcast. I'm your host, Joe Parker, and today I have ultra marathon runner Jed Dishong. Jed, how you doing today, man?
What's going on, man? Good to be here. Happy to be here.
Yeah, man. So ultra marathons, just let's jump right into that. How did you get involved with that?
So to start it, growing up, my dad was an ultra runner. My dad was insane, man, running 100 milers, 100 Ks. I mean, everything you could think of, 50 milers, 70 milers. I mean, and then a handful of marathons. I don't even know how many marathons he ran. I don't think you can count them on 5 different hands, honestly. And I loved it when my dad was like, "Hey, I got 100 mile this weekend. We're going out." I don't know why. There was just a thrill to me of going to an aid station and just seeing my dad run in there. And I was like, and then the camaraderie of everybody else. Like when you're in an ultra marathon and you're in the running community, it's not just you and your family. It is everybody. Like everybody's cheering you on, whether you're first or you're dead last. And it's the best feeling ever, honestly. And finishing one of those races, man, there's nothing like it. We were talking before, you run 5Ks and stuff. After a run, I feel like I've accomplished more than I did after a work day. Like I don't know, there's something to it that I love. I hate it, but I love it, So, but yeah, I think it all stems from my dad. He's a psycho, and I just want to be the psycho like him.
I think there has to be a little bit of that hate when it comes to any passion that you have, because people always say love what you do, but if you fully I fully love eating ice cream. You know what I mean? Like there's no pain in that at all.
Absolutely.
But I think there has to be that little bit of pushback, but that love of it pushes you through that little bit of pain that you get from it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I mean, that's when it comes to running, and like I said, you can understand this, or even lifting weights too. I mean, you got so much pain that you go through, in these races and stuff, and but it's just the fulfillment and then the love you get afterwards. Like I just did that. Like I just pushed through hell. You know what I mean? So that's the ultimate thing for me, man. It's just that satisfying fulfillment you get after it. Yeah, so I love it. Yeah.
When you're running, what is your method for switching between the mental and the physical pain of it? Because I know there's different points where you have to shut one off and then shut the other off. How do you go about doing that?
Yeah, man. So, have you ever heard of Courtney Dauwalter?
I don't think so. No.
Yeah, you have to check her out. She's the greatest ultra runner, woman or man. I mean, both in the entire world, probably ever. And she has a podcast, and I forget who. I think it was Joe Rogan, but they talk about entering the pain cave. And she said there's a race it's called UTMB. It's like the 100 milers of Boston marathons, if that makes sense. So it's like Boston Marathon, but for 100 milers. It's like the greatest 100 mile in the world. And she just won it this year for like the 3rd time in a row. And after she already ran 200 milers like a couple months before and won those. And she said that she was in the pain cave at mile 50. So just imagine running 50 miles and just mentally, not even like your legs are shot, your body's shot, you're done, but your mental is going. And I think when I'm in that, I think when you're running, as soon as your legs start going out, that's when you have to switch to the mental, because your body, it's just not going to do it. You can train, but sometimes you just have one of them races that just don't go your way. Like last year, I'm doing a race this Sunday, and it's a pretty tough 25K. And last year I did it, and I tell you what, there was a lot of climbing in that race, and it was about mile 8 or 9, and my body just hit the wall, and I still had 6 miles left at that point. And I remember seeing my parents. It was the last massive climb. It's about 1 mile long, but it's just straight up. and I was hurting. I was hurting bad. So my dad just looked at me and he was just like, I was like, yeah. I was like, I just got to push through it. You know what I mean? So my mind just, even in, but up the climb, you're sitting there thinking like, what am I doing? But you can't go back. You can't, why would you go back? You got to keep going forward. And that's when the mental focus really comes in, man. And when your body starts shutting down, you got to just completely just turn it around and just be like, push through it, because your body's capable of amazing things. It really is. Look at David Goggins. I mean, push through, I don't know, all kinds of sicknesses and, I mean, broken bones just running 100 miles. Like, geez, I can make this climb another mile if he's doing that. You know what I mean? So it's just, it's a big difference between when your body shuts down to when your body is feeling good. You got to just completely have a mental capacity to push through that pain.
I was actually just listening to a video with David Goggins. Well, not with David Goggins. Someone was talking about him when they were
Mm-hmm.
doing the log runs where they have to hold those logs over their heads.
Uh,
And they kept trying to sit him down because they could tell that his physical condition, he should not have been carrying logs. Like they were like, he needs to sit down, he needs to sit on the side. And he kept getting up and kept getting back in line, and they kept physically removing him. And the moment they took their eyes off him, he would run right back in line and grab the log.
Dude, just insane. Like, I was watching a video of him one time. It's called Badwater 135. It's one of the toughest 100 plus milers in the world, and mostly because of the heat. Like, it gets to like 110, 120 in the desert. And I remember it was just a little video. It was, David, hey David, how'd you feel about the heat of the race? And he looked at the camera and he just said, didn't even notice it. I'm just like what the hell, man? I wish I could be like that. I mean, that's incredible. It's just crazy to think about some of the stuff he's done, and then obviously we can do it if he's doing all that.
Yeah, and he wasn't a guy who started from a reasonable position either. He started
Uh-uh.
at, what was it, 297, 297
Yeah,
pounds
man. I think he hit 300 at one point.
Mm,
When he was working at the Eco Lab or whatever it was. But
yeah.
yeah, but hey, anybody listening, read that book. Can't Hurt Me. Holy cow, that's an inspiring book.
You read
And
that book?
he has a new one out too. He's the second one out. I haven't read it yet. I got it, but I plan on reading it very soon.
So you read Can't Hurt Me.
Yeah, man, it's
What was
amazing.
one of the main takeaways that you got from that book?
So his life story. He started from getting abused and mentally and physically, and I didn't. I had a great family growing up. My family treated me like, so I can't relate to any of that. But moving later into life, him talking about him being 300 pounds and wanting something so bad that he literally went on an extreme diet. Like, I think the dude was working out 3 or 4 times a day, eating like chicken and rice and drinking a protein shake or two, and just lost an extreme amount of weight. Me, I'm 290, 285, 290 right now, and I'm running these races, and I can't lie to you, it's rough sometimes being this big. So I think knowing that he can do that in that little a time and be a Navy SEAL, for God's sakes. I mean, I can obviously lose weight to run 100K or 100 miles. So I think his just that mental capacity that he had, man, that just inspires you. I mean, it makes you really realize that what we're doing isn't really that hard. You know what I mean? So, and that's kind of what I always think about when I think about that book, especially when I'm in tough places in a race or lifting or in life in general. So,
Yeah, because he had every excuse to not be where he's at and
absolutely.
still push through. So imagine what people like in our positions where you said you had a loving family. I had a loving family growing up. If you just block out all of the excuses as he did, you can accomplish, I don't want to say more than David Goggins because that's a lot, but you can accomplish anything you want to accomplish though.
Absolutely.
And
Absolutely.
I
I mean,
think
he's human, just like us. You know what I mean? But
I don't know,
yeah,
Jeff. I don't know about that one.
I don't. Yeah, you're right. I don't know if he is human or not, but
No,
uh,
but you're right though. You're right. He is a human just like us, but I think there's something within his mind, dude, that I don't know. It's
yeah,
just going through 3 hell weeks in what 18 months,
yeah,
going through one with a fractured ankle, I mean, it's an amazing accomplishment. It's an amazing feat. And anyone out there who hasn't listened to him yet or hasn't listened to any of his content, read his book or anything, you should definitely go check some of that stuff out if you really want to be motivated. Um, huge influence on me,
hmm
losing my weight.
absolutely.
Yeah. It was
Yeah, man, your weight loss, that's so impressive. I love the pictures, man. It gets me going every time I see it. I'm like, man, if I can do it, you know? So that's
yeah,
awesome.
I appreciate that. But it's very impressive that you run what you run at the weight that you're at. It really is.
Yeah, I appreciate that too. A lot of people say that. It definitely is putting a toll on my body, so I am really focusing on these last couple weeks of just trying to eat better, and I've been intermittent fasting. That's been working really well for me. So, and I got a big training block coming up for this 100K. So I got another, like I said, I got another race on Sunday, and after that race, it's full tilt. We're going all in. So
Full tilt on the weight loss portion.
weight loss and training, man. Because I mean, I'm going to be running anywhere from 40 to 70 miles a week probably. So,
Okay.
and I'm gonna have to eat, but it's I'm just gonna be eating healthy, intermittent fasting, like I said, just really focusing on keeping my body fueled without killing myself and not letting myself recover with like crappy food and my wife loves ice cream, and I do
Mm.
too. So it's tough sometimes when I come home and I'm like, oh, I feel good today. I didn't do nothing bad, and she's like, and hey, I love you, baby. I'm not blaming anything on you, but when you say I want some ice cream, I'm not gonna say no. You know what I mean?
Well, there are alternatives to that though, too. I don't know if you're the type. Some people are like, no, if I'm gonna enjoy it, I'm gonna enjoy it. But there are like I get Nick's ice cream, I get Halo Top ice cream. They're like really, really low calorie, and it's about the same. I think it's even cheaper than a Ben and Jerry's pint too,
Oh
and
wow,
it's better for you. So
I
not
haven't
better for
tried Halo Top, but I
calorie.
heard good things.
Yeah, I'm not gonna say better for you because I don't know the actual nutrition whatever behind it, but I know it's lower in
Mm-hmm.
calories. Definitely doesn't taste as good though. I'm not gonna lie to you. Ben and Jerry's probably tastes way better than Halo Top, but for what you're getting, I think it's pretty good. So there
Yeah,
are alternatives to stuff like that. It's just about wanting to find those alternatives if you want to enjoy things like ice cream.
yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, and it's
Yeah, I
hard.
just gotta.
It's hard too, like balancing because you need to have so much energy in your system in order to run an ultra marathon or a 25K or whatever you're training for, and
Mm-hmm.
you need to fuel your body to train for it and then to have enough energy while you're doing it too. So
Mm-hmm.
I know that that's rough because even when I just run a 5K or run 5 miles or whatever I decide to do that day, I know that I have to eat food. Also because I'm training in the gym later, but it's I can understand the difficulty with trying to find balance with both of those things because it'd be very hard to while you're running not have enough energy in your system because you're trying to lose weight and also trying to achieve a feat like a 25K.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah, man. I mean, I did keto for a while, and I dropped weight super fast. I mean, that was just insane how quick I was losing weight. I was losing like a pound or two a day, and I was lifting. I felt good lifting, but I wasn't able to go to more than like 3.5 miles without feeling like I was just gonna pass out because I wasn't getting any carbs. So you
Yeah.
gotta eat, like you just said, like you gotta find that balance of like carbs and fats and proteins, that you just need to make sure that you're properly fueling. Like right now, I'll probably like tonight, tomorrow, and Saturday, I'll probably start really kind of packing on the good carbs. I'll probably eat some good rice tonight or potatoes, whatever my wife's making dinner tonight. So, um, and like tomorrow, I'll eat some rice. Just continuing to really get the good carbs in so that my body's ready to go for Sunday.
Yeah, I had a nutritionist. He's not a nutritionist, but he's like a personal trainer. I believe he
Mm-hmm.
has his nutrition certification on. or with not on his
Yeah, yeah, I got you.
yeah. Um, he has that, and he was telling me that if you're going to go work out within the next 2 hours, jasmine rice or brown rice, if it's like 3 or 4 hours, I think he said, or a longer period of time, brown rice, jasmine rice if it's sooner, and then potatoes too for like overnight carb storage are really good as well.
Mhm.
So those are like two things, you know,
Yeah.
from that perspective, they're good carbs. It's not like stay away from white breads. I heard that a lot.
Mhm.
It's like really quick. It's like 30 minutes. It's in and out of your system. And then if you don't use it, it turns into sugar, like
Yeah.
immediately fat.
Yeah, that's what I heard, pack on the brown rice and the wheats.
Yeah.
Um, and that's really what helps you. And like yeah, the potatoes are that good storage. I eat a lot of white rice right now, but I usually eat it and then I do about an hour and then I go for like my run or a lift or something. So
Yeah. That's good. I don't know why he specifically said jasmine rice, to be honest with you, but I, you
I'm gonna
know,
be honest with you.
yeah,
I got no idea what the difference was between jasmine, white, basmati, or whatever the hell that's called. You know what I
yeah,
mean?
yeah, no, I don't. I think it's just like longer grain or shorter grain. Maybe
uh,
I don't even know if that's truly what it is. That's the only difference that I can think that it would be. Yeah.
Hey, Ricky knows everything about there is about rice. Ask him about
Oh, yeah. There's a whole episode about rice, bro. There's an entire episode
it.
of what he knows about hamburger meat and rice. That's it.
That's hilarious.
Grass fed, grass finished beef. That's what we'll talk about for an hour.
Oh
Oh,
man, that's funny.
dude, hilarious. How has when we were initially talking, you had told me that you just had a kid. So how has having a kid influenced your goal setting priorities and how you now lay out your day now that you have a child?
Yeah, so at first, and new parents will know this. The first 2 months, I mean, there's really it's hard to do anything. I remember we were in the hospital for a week because my wife got induced, and at the time, I think I was training for something, or I was in good consistency with running at least, and I took a whole entire I just didn't run for a whole week, and when the baby only sleeps 2 hours, at a time, it's tough to really want to go out for a run when you want to sleep for those 2 hours too. So
Yeah,
the first month or two, it was tough, but I gotta admit, man, like recently, my wife works 3 12s. She changed her schedule around so that she works 3 days of the week. So when she's at work and I take the baby to the babysitter or pick him up. The babysitters are our parents, so they're very, very good with letting me go for like a run or a workout after work real quick, and then I go pick them up. And then my wife, I mean, she's a rock star. She's all in for letting me train for my races and stuff. So having her be able to just kind of even if she watched them all day long, and I'm like, hey, I still need to get my run in. She's completely cool with it, and I love her for it. But I can tell you, it takes up a lot of your time. Like, having a kid and having goals like running 100K, you better just kind of get rid of that weekly and sometimes weekend social life,
yeah,
getting not going out anymore, you know, watching about going out to eat all the time, just stuff with your friends. I mean, I still keep in touch with my friends pretty good on a basis. I work with some friends too, which is nice, but um, it's it takes up time, but it's being a dad is the best thing in the world, so I can't complain about nothing. You know what I mean? Having being able to just go for a run, but then come home to my kid and my son, it's the best thing in the world. I wouldn't trade it for anything. So, like I said, time consuming, but it's rewarding at the same time.
yeah. That life switch up when you have a child, like you said, you can no longer go out on weekends. Has that benefited you at all, not going out on weekends, or do you feel like you kind of still long for that social life?
Um, I can pretty much say that whenever my wife and I got married, or even whenever my wife and I started dating, she calmed me down a lot. and I kind of slowed down doing all that stuff, and so it's been a couple years since I've really had that like weekend, every weekend social life kind of thing. Now, don't get me wrong, my wife and I are very busy people, so we'll throw Hayden in the car seat, go down to her family, my family, do we'll go to harvest parties, whatever it is. We still do stuff. And I was just actually talking to my barber about this today. We still are busy and do stuff, but we're not like partying. You know what I mean? We're not out just continuously. But that's the best thing about having a really well behaved kid too, is we kind of take him wherever the heck we want. And we went to a it was a skeleton fest after my half marathon 2 weeks ago, and we went to the bar, or we went to the Mexican restaurant, did some tequila shots, and went to another restaurant, had a couple beers in a brewery and stuff, and yeah, in moderation. I'm not saying I got hammered with my kid or anything like that, but we're still able to do stuff. It's just you got to do it in moderation and do it smart. So yeah, my life on the weekend life hasn't. It's been pretty chill for the last couple years. So having him, it is a life change, but that kind of change was already made, so that was nice.
Yeah. And how did you overcome that point where when you had your son and you couldn't run every day, how did you overcome that mentally, and then how did you eventually overcome it physically and start running again?
Yeah, I mean, I can't lie, I put on some weight, and but I think just being there for my wife, and being there for my kid, and just trying to help her with everything she needed, postpartum. It really helped me mentally get through the not running and not working out. I mean, heck, man, I was tired. I was tired too. I didn't want to go work out or run. And you start to get that cabin fever. You start to, because you release a lot of endorphins when you work out. So that really makes you in a positive mood. So I can't say there wasn't arguments and stuff like that, but you just got to have good conversation, good communication, and work through things, because it's tough. I ain't gonna lie, it's tough. But when you have a good solid base and you prepare yourself, you can get through it. And it was nice just knowing that I could help her and be there for my kid. I feel like I said physically I gained a couple pounds, but I uh, I got back into it as soon as I could. Me and Mary would work out as much as we could, or however. But I'm back on track now, and he's about 4.5 months old. He just hangs out, eats, and sleeps. So it's real nice right now for me.
That's awesome, man. Yeah, I could imagine because about the cabin fever, because when you hit such a high endorphin and dopamine level from completing something like a half marathon, ultra marathon, or even running 5 miles outside, and then you're not getting that consistently on a consistent basis, I feel like even then, that's where some of your mental focus from running those 100Ks comes into play. Because how do you stay so focused when you're in a spot like that? I think that I think the reason I'm struggling understanding that, and not saying that you like, you definitely did a great job with it. I
Mhm.
personally would struggle to understand that, because if I missed a day at the gym, the day at the gym actually wasn't that bad. This past Sunday, I actually missed a day at the gym, and I was okay. I was alive the next day. But like running, dude, like I have to run. Lifting, I pretty much have to lift. There's been a handful of times I haven't. So I really commend you for having the ability to put all that aside and sacrifice that dopamine and endorphins release for, your wife and your son. So
Mhm.
that's part of that sacrifice, right? Of being a new dad.
Yeah, and I can tell you, man, when you have a kid, like there's and people kept telling me this, and I just never understood it. But people, it's the greatest love you'll ever have, the greatest connection. And I was just like, I just kept thinking in my head, I'm not gonna lie, I had thoughts of like, my life's gonna change, I'm not gonna be able to work out as much. This is gonna be tough. Like, what are we gonna do? We're busy people. We always do this. But as soon as we had them, it just all changed. Like, everything just was fine. You know what I mean? I mean, it
Yeah.
was, however it worked out. It worked out because we had him. So it's a life changing thing, man. And I can tell you that if you or whoever is listening, if you do or don't decide to have kids, if you don't, that's fine. That's perfectly fine. Me and my wife talked about not, but we did. But when you do have it and you're worried about, that missing a day at the gym or missing going to being social, you're gonna be all right because trust me, you're gonna be super satisfied with what you got in front of you. But yeah.
I've never thought about it like that. And I like what you said when you said everything is just fine.
Hmm.
However, anything plays out, it's just fine. Because that is a sense of peace, I think. And that's something that you really don't get from a lot of stuff. And that is the stuff that money can't buy, is that peace of mind and that everything is going to be fine mindset toward life.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely.
Do you think that plays just in parenthood overall, that plays a big role in why parents feel so connected to their kids because their kids give them that feeling?
Yeah, man, it's like I said, there's a certain love you have for your kid. You love your wife, you love your parents, and like I said, I love Jesus, I love everything about everything, and then you have your kid. It's just different, but it's amazing. Like I said, I would never put anybody before Jesus, my family, and then friends and working out and work or whatever. But when there's something about your kid that when it's your kid. It's hard to explain, really. It's hard to kind of put it into words. It's just when it's like you made that thing.
Yeah,
That's like and that there just it gives you like you said, it gives you just a great peace of mind that if you're missing stuff or because the thing is you're gonna be able to get to back to whatever you were doing, and it's gonna because it will always get better. And I mean, I guess the terrible twos might not, but you know what I mean. Life's gonna go on, but the kid, man, I think people connected to their kids are just because it's something different. It's the greatest gift, honestly. It really is.
yeah. Do you think that having a kid has made you more inclined to wanting to become a running coach at all? Like mentoring, or I don't even know. Do they even have running coaches? I feel like it'd
Oh,
just be
absolutely.
something yelling at you to keep going,
No,
honestly.
absolutely. I mean, there's running coaches. I don't know if they're you get a certification or anything for it, but there's people who I actually got a couple of my workout plans from like running coaches and stuff. There's different levels of running coaches. There's anywhere from 5K the whole way 100 miles. And I've always thought about, I think I'd love to help people who want to run, ultra marathons, stuff like that. I personally don't think I'll do it for a long time until I get some real good experience under my belt. I've only ran technically two ultra marathons, um, and have attempted a third, but DNF'd it. But I've ran multiple, 25Ks, trail races, half marathons, couple, did the 4x4x48 David Goggins challenge last year. But until I get some serious experience and under my belt and really understand those kinds of distances. But yeah, man, I mean, seeing him stand, my son stand and stuff, I always think in my head like, I can't wait till you're running with me. Like, this is gonna be great. Like, this is gonna be awesome. Like, this is gonna be the greatest thing in the world. And I keep like just having him like try to step, and I'm like, oh my god, it's coming.
Yeah.
So he inspires me, man. It's awesome.
When you start stepping faster, you get a little more excited. It's
Oh,
hilarious.
absolutely. I'm just like, yeah, you're gonna be a runner, man. You know it.
So you did tell me that you had a quote, and I really liked this one that you gave. But do you want to share it?
Yes, and not dead, not done.
Yeah.
Not dead, not done. Yeah, man. My shout out to my good friend Matt Scoletti. He attempted a mammoth. It's called the Mammoth Endurance Triathlon. It's a 5-time triathlon. So from Sunday or Monday morning to Saturday afternoon, you had to do 12 miles in the water, 562-mile bike ride, and a 131-mile run from Monday to Saturday. You could do it however you wanted to do it. You could do it back to back to back to back. You could do the swim, sleep, do the bike a little bit, sleep. He actually ended up tearing his calf on the bike. He had a spill on his bike. But beside the point, right before I was supposed to go down and pace him for the run, and we were on a Zoom call, and he said, "Not dead, not done, man." And I was just like, "That's awesome! Like I love that. Not dead, not done.
Yeah.
Like you're dang right." Because that's what the mental capacity you have to do these crazy things that ultra runners and stuff do. It's just what you gotta think about.
And that was after he tore his calf.
That was before. That was
Okay.
before. Yeah, he literally couldn't walk after after he did that. So he actually texted me when he was about 260 into the bike, and he said, "Hey man, I just want to let you know that I'm probably not going to be able to run. I don't know yet, but a medical thinks I tore my calf." And I was like, "Geez, man." I was like, "You better be careful." He's like, "Well, I'm going to try to finish the bike." I was like, "That's 300 more miles, man." So I think he ended up finishing the bike on a torn calf, and then he was like, I gotta call it, and it's like, damn, dude, that's even just to do 300 miles when when you know you're in just serious pain. That's crazy. That's crazy. He's like a
Absolutely.
David Goggins type friend, honestly, man. That's how the kind of mindset he is. I love him. I love him.
Yeah. Do memories of that and moments of that ever kick into your mind whenever you feel tired when you're running?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Like just today, man, I was on a 5-mile run, and I don't know, it just felt terrible. My legs were heavy, my Achilles were burning, just my body didn't feel great, but that just kept coming to my head like not dead, not done. And then if he's biking with a torn calf, I can push through a little bit of pain. Like what the
Yeah.
heck, Jed? Like what do I don't try to be hard on myself, but I noticed that sometimes when like you can ask Ricky, when I'm benching, when I have some big weight on there, I'm like, come on, idiot, time to freaking push yourself. Don't be a freaking wimp. Like, don't wimp this out. I kind of not talk myself down, but I push myself in a weird way. And the same thing with running. I'll be going up a hill and I'll think, why are you like struggling right now? Like, just keep going. Like, your legs are fine. And so I don't know. That's the kind of stuff that pushes me. I don't maybe not suggest that for other people if that doesn't work for you, but uh, it's just something I like to do when I'm in pain, man.
I suggest it in the moment. And I think that's where some people misinterpret the meaning of being hard on yourself.
Yeah.
Don't not finish the 5 miles and then beat yourself up all day for not finishing the 5 miles.
Hmm.
That's not good. That's not healthy. But when you're in the moment, you can beat yourself up for wanting to stop
Hmm.
because you
Yeah.
shouldn't stop if you have a goal. And I think that's where there's a difference. And if you don't, say, you tear your calf, say you tear your Achilles, something bad happens, right? Don't beat yourself up for the rest of the day. It
Hmm.
happens. You didn't complete it. You be honest with yourself. You accept the fact that that day, the elements won, your body won, whatever. You move on. You find something else to do with your day.
Hmm.
It's when you beat yourself up all day that I think that's where it gets iffy with it's probably not for everyone, but
Hmm.
I think everyone has the capacity to push through a little bit of pain in the moment. But that's the key is while you're doing it.
Hmm. I like that. I like that. Yeah, in the moment, definitely. Honestly, and that's the thing. Like when something happens to you, that's when you just got to become a little bit vulnerable, and just you got to realize, hey, time to recover. Time to recover and get better. Get better than the next time. There was something wrong. that's happened. Well, next time that's not going to happen because I now got to work my calves more. I got to stretch my Achilles more, or whatever it is. So vulnerability is okay, and that's another thing that I feel like people really struggle with too.
Yeah. Yeah, it's more of being able to accept that and being able to accept, like, me personally, we were talking about earlier, I always run a 5K every morning, and recently I haven't been running a 5K, and that's because I felt my body going like, dude, like you can't keep doing this every morning, like didn't miss a morning. It's like, okay, like there's a lot of wear and tear, you're doing other stuff, so we're getting only 6 hours if we're lucky of sleep a night. Like, you need to
Mm-hmm.
do something to change this around. So I cut that in half now, and it's only 12 minutes of me doing cardio in the morning, but even less than that sometimes. But it gets my lungs going. It's cold outside, get some nice cold fresh air in my lungs, and then get
Mm-hmm.
after it.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's awesome, man. That's a perfect what you said. Listen to your body.
yeah,
That's the most important thing. Most important thing.
yeah. I used to think that not listening to my body was the right thing to do, and people would ask me like, "How are your knees, dude?" Like, do you ever get that at all?
Every day, dude. Every day. They're like, "How are your knees still holding up? You're like 290 running." I'm like, I don't
Yeah,
know, but
we'll find out in a couple
I,
years.
yeah. I'm not worried about that right now. I'm 28. Like, ask me when I'm 60.
Yeah. Oh yeah, man. Well, Jed, I actually have never done this before, but I want to ask you: is there anything that you want to say to your son right
Whew. Put me on the spot.
now?
um. Well, if you listen to this in the future, just know that I'm gonna. This is the moment in these last couple months. I've for my whole entire life, I've always preached, or I've always listened to people preaching consistency. This is another quote, actually. This is a good one. Being consistently good is better than being occasionally great. And I love that quote, but that was always my issue. Being occasionally great, you know, always just doing the amount of training that could get me through a race or whatever it was. Well, from right now on, I'm going to be consistently good and prove to everybody and myself and show you, my son, that anything is possible. And I'm gonna have a lot of goals for 2024. So I'm pumped up for him. I'm ready for him, and all of this is for my boy Hayden.
That's awesome, man. Good for you, Jed. It was a pleasure having you on, man. Absolute pleasure. Great conversation, great story, great message. For everyone out there listening, follow us on Instagram at excelcast_. Follow us on TikTok at excelcast. We're on Spotify and YouTube at excelcast. And as always, stay blessed and excel.